Good morning, everyone. It's 10:05 in Geneva, Switzerland. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be, and welcome to the first Stop TB Partnership Global Drug Facility Diagnostics Webinars. This is the first in our 2019 series of webinars. Here in Geneva, Switzerland, are three of us at the Global Drug Facility, GDF, myself, Viviana Angarita. I'm the GDF Diagnostics Procurement Officer.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Álvaro Meseguer, GDF Country Supply Officer.
Hello, everyone. This is Wayne Van Gemert. I'm the GDF Diagnostics Market Strategies Officer. We decided to organize this series of webinars for a few reasons. Firstly, we know that a number of people still don't know that the Global Drug Facility supplies diagnostics. We have an unfortunate name from the diagnostic perspective. And secondly, many people who do know that we supply diagnostics actually don't know the full scope of our catalog and all of our services available. And thirdly, given we here in Geneva can't travel everywhere, we would like to be able to provide some guidance to our country clients and technical partners on the ordering process and how to efficiently plan your procurement. So a few logistical notes with using the WebEx platform. If you haven't used it before, you should all by now see our shared screen, which is the first slide of our presentation. Participants are all muted, and you're not able to unmute yourself, and you're not able to see other participants. And given the large number of people we have on this call, participants will remain muted for the duration of the slides. You may ask questions by writing them in the Q&A box. You should see that in the bottom right corner of your screen. There's also a chat box where you can also ask questions. And at the end of the presentation, we'll read your questions and answer them. Then, with time permitting, we will also allow for verbal questions and if you have any comments. So we will give you the instructions later on how we will be able to unmute you. So let's get started. As you can see on the first slide, this first webinar is an introduction to GDF Diagnostics, so an overview of how we work and our catalog. Just to give you a brief overview of us here at GDF, we're a team of the Stop TB Partnership since 2001, and we're hosted by UNOPS. That's the United Nations Office for Project Services. Stop TB Partnership was hosted by WHO up until around 2015, but since then we've been hosted by UNOPS. The original mandate of GDF was to act as a pooled procurement mechanism to facilitate access to quality assured first-line drugs only. But since then, our services and products have significantly expanded. Today, GDF is the largest global supplier of quality assured first and second line TB medicines, as well as pediatric medicines, medicines for treating latent TB infection, and of course, diagnostics. We just want to highlight that any country can order from GDF. This is one of the common misconceptions we hear, that some people think that only countries using their Global Fund grants can order through GDF, but that's not the case. It is the majority of the orders as of today, but we do see that changing. We also have as clients national TB programs that have other donor funding, non-governmental organizations. There are TB Reach grant projects. So TB Reach, as you may know, is an initiative of the Stop TB Partnership, so they're here also with us. We also supplied for 2 main unit aid projects in the past. And also importantly, just to highlight, we also supply to governments that use their own domestic funds, and we'll touch on this a little bit later in the presentation. And I'd also like to importantly note that we are funded largely by USAID. This is good for our country clients because this allows us to have the lowest fee rates compared to other international pooled procurement mechanisms, because our overheads are covered by USAID and we don't rely on that fee money. And also thanks to USAID, we're able to provide a much wider package of services, things like technical assistance and other things that we'll be discussing later in the presentation. Also, just to give you an understanding of our history, For diagnostics procurement, we started back in 2007 with procurement of microscopes and consumables. Then in 2009 was a project funded by Unidaid for procurement of liquid culture and line probe assays for reference laboratories. This was in 28 countries, called the Expand TB project. In 2011, TB Reach here at the SOP-TB partnership was one of the first donors supporting the procurement of gene experts, and those were procured by us at GDF. And then in 2013 was another Unidaid funded project for procurement of gene experts called the TB Expert project. And at the same time, the Expand TB project also started supplying gene experts. It was really in 2015, 2016 that our procurement for diagnostics really took off, with countries, many of which were transitioning from these Unidaid projects and realized with their Global Fund money they could buy through us. So our large-scale procurement has just taken off in the past couple of years, and in 2017 our turnover reached $107 million. So I'd like to present to you our GDF Diagnostics Catalog, if you're not familiar with it yet. It contains over 500 items, and it contains everything required to equip and maintain all sorts of TB laboratories, from the most peripheral health centers that would be using microscopes, LAMP, LAM, gene experts, all the way up to the reference laboratories that require biosafety precautions and doing tests like culture and line probe assays. So for our clients who have been with us for a number of years, you would know that in the past we only had an Excel sheet that served somewhat as a catalog, but it didn't categorize any of the products, and people found it very confusing and not user-friendly. So we were happy to publish this diagnostic catalog that you can see on the screen here in June. Last year we had our suppliers meeting in Lisbon, and we released this diagnostics catalog. So it's available on our website. You can download it in PDF. It contains the key information on our products. So it has the product description, brief, the GDF item number, the quantity per pack, and the price. And to give you an idea of the different categories of products that we have in our catalog, firstly, you'll find all the WHO recommended molecular tests. This includes the equipment, the reagents, as well as all the consumables. So we have the line probe assays, the genotype from Hein, as well as Cepheid Expert cartridges. For those who aren't aware, the Ultra cartridges are available for procurement now. And we also supply the LAMP tests that are manufactured by Icon, and the global distributor is Human. We also supply urine-based rapid antigen detection tests, so the Alere Determine LAM test we currently have in our catalog. Everything required for solid and liquid culture and DST, so the BD BACTEC Midget liquid culture, solid culture supplies, the 2 WHO recommended rapid MTB identification tests from SD Bioline and TONS, and also the pure drug substances. These powders are available, as well as the lyophilized vials from BD for use with BACTEC Midget.
In terms of microscopy, we have 3 types of diagnostic kits. One for the bright field microscope, the second one for LAD microscopy, and the third one is the starter kit for microscopy. The 3 of the kits have reagents and consumables for 1,000 smears. Also, we have for the general laboratory supplies, sputum containers. These containers are not part of the kits; they are separately. They are procured separately. We have pipettes, centrifuge, glassware, plasticware. In terms of the biosafety waste management, we have respirators, we have gloves, laboratory coats, surgical gowns, goggles, shoe and hair covers. We have also a different variety of disinfectants for floors, biosafety cabinet surfaces, instruments, and for disinfectants for hands. In terms of biosafety cabinets, we have class 2 with 2 or 3 filters, vertical or horizontal thimble as requested by the client. And they can request it, we have it with 4 feet, 5 feet, and 6 feet. We have thermic anerometer for measuring air velocity, smoke sticks, a couple of autoclaves, weight containers for solid liquid sharps. You know, we have, as Wayne mentioned, more than 500 items. So this is just a general overview, but we will invite you to go over the catalog and see more in details all our items. In terms of our suppliers, we have a total of 8 manufacturers and 4 wholesalers or distributors. Our first contract with them was back in 2007, and we had the last one in 2018, last year, with Aliyah. Most of our suppliers are based in Europe, such as BD, Cefate, Hain, and some of them are just outside Europe, like SD and Tons. Important thing to take from this slide is that per supplier, there might be different type of transporting their products. So we have a general cargo, we have dangerous cargo, we have cool cargo to organize in our shipping plans. The production times varies from 1 to 11 weeks. It depends of the type of product. For example, a biosafety cabinet, it will take longer than produce pipettes or tips. Yep. In terms of our freight forwarders, as here at GDF, we don't have warehouses to keep the diagnostics products. We rely on our diagnostics products, on our freight forwarders to collect the products from the manufacturers' warehouses to the destinations. So we have 2 freight forwarders by air, 2 freight forwarders by sea, can enable Scan and Bolloré. They are in Denmark, and Bolloré is based in India. In here, we want to show the different of countries, regions that GDF serves in diagnostics, serves diagnostics by 2018. We serve around 100 countries up to 2018, and 140 diagnostics, and 140 countries with medicines. So we want to show you here our variety in terms of we supply in the Latin American countries, Africa, even West Asia, West Pacific. Some countries procure Genie Expert, procure Hain products, LPA. It depends of their needs in the country.
Okay, just to give you an idea of the supply trends we have for diagnostics here. So you'll see the red is diagnostics, and it started back in 2007. It was really very minimal, just doing some microscopy kits. And then in 2011, we started procuring Gene Experts. There were then the Expand TB projects, actually from, procurement from 2011 to around 2015, 2016. You'll see a really large spike in 2017 for procurement of diagnostics. This actually coincides with the end of the 3-year Global Fund grant cycle. So there were a number of countries that had unspent funds in their Global Fund grants, and they found that buying diagnostics, relatively expensive diagnostics, was an easy way for them to spend their money so that they did not lose it. So that's why you see that spike in 2017. But overall, from 2015 to 2018, we're still seeing very significant growth in our diagnostics business. Actually, in 2017, I should note our orders for diagnostics were more than for first-line drugs. So we tried to get our name to change to the Global Diagnostics Facility, but we failed.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. Next slide. So our Diagnostics Catalog is going to continue to expand. If you haven't noticed yet or gotten our message, at the end of last year, we added the powders, the pure drug substances for linezolid and clofazimine. This is important given the recent WHO recommendations on drug-resistant TB treatment. So we're expecting a number of things to be added in Q2. So actually in the coming days, we'll be adding the OmniGene sputum reagent. This is the product that can be added to sputum specimens and will preserve them so that you can use culture later. So it's a good product for transport purposes. We are also, we have open tenders right now with the 2 manufacturers of WHO recommended IGRAs. So this is the QIAGEN and the Oxford Immunotech IGRAs. We're also working with Cepheid to add their GeneXpert Edge. This is not the Omni. This is essentially a 1-module GeneXpert. And it's the differences with the GeneXperts that you're familiar with are that the Edge comes with auxiliary batteries. And instead of a laptop, it comes with a tablet. So it can be used closer to point of care. And we hope to have that in our catalog in the coming couple of months. We're also working with Nipro. It's a Japanese company that manufactures line probe assays, and they have a WHO recommended line probe assay for detection of isoniazid and rifampicin. It also differentiates the NTMs, the non-tuberculosis mycobacteria. They do not have a WHO recommended test for second-line drug resistance, unfortunately, yet, but we are still planning to add them to our catalog. Then later this year, it heavily relies on what the WHO recommends. So we know that in May, WHO here in Geneva is organizing a guideline development group for the Fujifilm LAM test. This is the next generation urine dipstick LAM test. It's supposed to be more sensitive than the Alere Determine test that we have in our catalog. Then in July, WHO is planning a guideline development group to review the performance of the next 5 products. So these are reference level centralized testing platforms, high throughput. They can all test for TB, isoniazid resistance, and rifampicin resistance. So these are the platforms manufactured by Roche, Abbott, Hein, BD, and Bioneer. That last manufacturer you may not be familiar with. They're a Korean company, and their product is already being used in a couple Central Asian countries that we're aware of. Then the MolBio TrueNat, the demonstration studies are underway. Just recently started, and this is an Indian product, and WHO is planning to review that data in December. And then next generation sequencing, it's probably more likely 2020 that we'll see anything starting to be recommended by the WHO. Then the box on the far right, you'll see we're reviewing this year whether we should be potentially expanding the scope of our catalog. We frequently receive requests from people to expand the products in our catalog. We do have limited resources here at GDF, so we do have to prioritize, but the ones that we're considering most seriously as priorities would be digital X-ray, quite a few requests for container laboratories, connectivity softwares, and then devices for pediatric sputum collection and stool processing. And there's quite a few others that we've also received, but those are just the highlights. To give an update on pure drug substances for DSD in line with the new WHO drug-resistant TB guidelines. So I already mentioned that we added the linezolid and clofazimine powders to our catalog. Now for bedaquiline, this is provided for free through the U.S. National Institutes of Health AIDS reagent program. So for any country that wants to receive powders for free, they should go to this website of the U.S. NIH AIDS reagent program. And just yesterday, we learned the good news that Janssen has made an agreement with the NIH to pay for delivery. So there were a few countries that were struggling earlier this year and last year because they did not have a an international courier account. But now, thanks to Janssen, they are going to be paying for the delivery. So it's important to note that when you register with the NIH on that website here, countries should select a non-FedEx account as courier and then write JNJ as the account number. So you'll have the product delivered for free. Delaminid is also provided for free through the manufacturer, and they also take care of shipments. It's a simpler process. You just need to write to this email address here at Otsuka. And we're monitoring challenges here in case countries are having problems in receiving bedaquiline or delaminid through these mechanisms from the companies, in which case we will try to facilitate solutions. So please do let us know if you hear of any challenges. And we are also aware that BD is planning to make available their lyophilized vials for BACTEC midget testing for the following drugs: bedaquiline, linazolid, clofazimine, levofloxacin, and delaminid.
Right, just to give you an update on the Hain LPA supply, in 2018, the acquisition of the manufacturer Hain Life Sciences by Bruker Corporation resulted in lengthy export control processes. So now Hain Bruker must comply with the US, German, and European export laws. So what is delaying is that now we have different processes for equipment and reagents. The delay up to now has been up to 3 months and exceptionally for 7 months for some countries. So we are encouraging the country and the clients to submit their orders to GDF on time, so to start mitigating any risk of stock outs in country. For more information about these delays on Hain, please go to the website. We have posted an information about these processes. Now going to the GDF values added. We are the one-stop shop for procurement of TB medicines at Diagnostics. We are proud to have quality assured products with the lowest and sustainable prices. The countries can use any funding source, including the donor or the government funding. The buying through GDF also allows to avoid distributors to increase the prices, and we know that distributors or wholesalers have like much higher prices than GDF. Here at Geneva offices, we have a dedicated team, the country supply officers, and diagnostics procurement team that will guide you in the orders from the beginning to the end. We have also a network of regional technical advisors with a strong competency and procurement in procurement and supply planning.
So just to highlight a few products that we have to help guide countries is this series of GDF technical information notes on diagnostics. These are these are documents that are highlighting products in our catalog, so new diagnostics and other priority products, and it provides guidance to countries on procurements. So you'll see there the supply information, including the whole package of products that are required in order to run a test. So all of the equipment and the auxiliary products and consumables required. It also gives guidance on how to calculate and budget your order sizes. We've so far published 4 of these technical information notes. So one on the LAM test, one on LAMP, then the expert test, and the GDF microscopy kits. We will be releasing probably in the coming week a technical information note on the gene sputum, and we're developing others on IGRAs, LPAs, midget, and infection control products. Just continuing on the topic of GDF's value add and talking beyond procurement and technical assistance, one valuable tool that we have here is what we call our flexible procurement fund. So this is essentially a pot of money that we have available here. And when countries cannot pay upfront, if they have regulations that require payment only upon delivery of products, then we have this funding that acts as a bridge that allows us to place the orders with the manufacturers, and then the countries pay us back later. And this is especially important given more and more countries are using domestic financing to procure diagnostics, and oftentimes national regulations, we know, require payment only upon delivery. We also, being the largest supplier globally of diagnostics, we act as a market coordinator. We're able to align all of the key stakeholders and other buyers, donors, technical partners to create enabling environments to maximize access to TB diagnostics. So we can speak on behalf of countries and raise issues all the way up to the highest level with manufacturers when there are problems. And we also at times have access to grant funding for introduction of new products. So we have the Stop TB Partnerships TB Reach initiative and also the UNIDAID projects as examples.
Okay, so now that you have a good knowledge of the catalog and services provided by GDF, to whom do you go to start placing an order? And you can see in this slide, in GDF, we are a team of 10 people, of 10 dedicated country supply officers, taking care of managing client relationship and guiding clients on order placement, planning, and deliveries. You can find the contact details under each picture, as well as the region of which they are responsible for. So if you want to initiate a procurement process of diagnostic equipment, or you have any question about it, please don't hesitate to contact your respective country supply officer.
Supporting the CSOs, the country supply officer team, we have here at Geneva offices the diagnostic support team that are responsible for supplier, contract management, and logistics. The same structure. Our team is dedicated per region in the world. We have a quality assurance officer and a market strategies officer that also help us in giving technical advice to our countries and clients. So we are about to finish this presentation. Just want to give you the flavor of our next webinar, is how to order the diagnostics products from GDF. A very simple 3 steps. The first one is to go to the partnership website and then to our GDF page. The client will have to complete 2 main documents, which is the procurement request form and the ordering list, and then send it to the designated country supply officer. So here is the ordering list, but we will walk through these documents in our next webinar. We are expecting you. So wrapping up this session, GDF serves as one-stop shop for procurement of TB health commodities with quality assured products and affordable prices. We have in our catalog more than 500 items, and every time a new diagnostics is coming up, we add in more. And any country can order through GDF, Global Fund, or any donor money or domestic financing. For any questions, please contact gdf@tb.org. Or if you want to see the diagnostic catalog more in details, the technical information notes that Wayne have presented are available in the below link. So thank you so much for your attention, and this is the end of our presentation.